Knack the Weasel, Fang the Sniper, Fang the Hunter, a weasel, a wolf, a gerbil. In the past 30 years of his existence, Fang has gone through a number of names, iterations, monikers, but one thing that has never changed: he likes money, he loves his bike, and he's after Sonic, for one reason or another, usually at the behest of one Dr. Eggman/Robotnik. This comic is a twofold celebration: Fang's 30th anniversary and his return to gaming thanks to Sonic Superstars. It's actually funny, Fang hasn't really been a prominent character in gaming since the time of Sonic the Fighters and Sonic Drift 2, but in terms of the comics, Fang is a usual mook who appears to give Sonic a bit of trouble, though let's face it, usually a bit down on his luck. So it makes the most sense that one of his highlighted moments would be a miniseries by IDW. While I do take a bit of offense, and I use that term very loosely, to the fact that the regular Sonic comic has been put on hold for a while, kinda wish we could have run concurrently to this, I say leave it to Fang to steal the spotlight fully from Sonic. How on brand. So, since they put the Sonic comic on hold for this, which is still a Sonic comic, let's see just how exciting the adventures of Fang really are, shall we? Alright, issue 1 of Fang the Hunter. An absolutely great cover by Aaron Hemmerstrom, and a staple that has actually been set by Ian Flynn back in the Archie days, the trio of Fang, Bean, and Bark, at one point known as the Hooligan. Honestly, one of the bigger influences Ian has actually managed to have in terms of Sonic lore. Now, whether we'll actually see them teamed up in an actual game is yet to be seen, as I'm not quite sure how well Superstars ended up doing. And this is from the classic line, so expect some wacky action. Alright, story by Ian Flynn, pencils Mario Fonseca, inks by Rick Mack, colors by Valentina Pinto, letters by Sean Lee, editor David Marriott, production Johanna Natali. And Aaron's cover is probably my favorite, but I love the Sonic the Fighters reference by the Mark Hughes cover, because let's face it, that's the last prominent role this trio has really had. But the Mario Fonseca one, I love the classic look for it. The classic branding has really grown on me. To a certain degree, I kind of preferred it for like to the side stuff, which this is, but I almost want a classic branded ongoing comic, to be honest. We pick up with someone observing Sonic through some binoculars. Sonic, who is resting in a hammock. Narration by Fang, who says, "There he is, Sonic the Hedgehog, without a care in the world, and without a clue." Ha! We see Fang, Bean, and Mark observing Sonic, who is between two palm trees in a hammock, with a pit covered by palm tree leaves underneath him. On one side, a palm tree being bent back by the Marvelous Queen with a boulder attached to the top of the palm, and another palm tree on the opposite side being bent back by some rope with a makeshift cage on the top of it. Yeah, we're going full Looney Tunes. Fang drops his binocular, saying he's as good as caught. I love Bean sneering in the bushes. Fang then lets out a whistle. You gotta love how the Marvelous Queen is activated. The Marvelous Queen hears the whistle, releases the palm tree, which launches the boulder. Sonic simply swings around the boulder. The boulder is caught by the makeshift net, which causes the palm tree with the net to launch, almost like a hammer, about to come down where Sonic is, but Sonic does a spin dash to get out of the way. The boulder goes into the hole, and Sonic starts to wrap up his hammock, giving a very tired yawn. Bark rolls his eyes while Bean excitedly says, "And he nails the dismount! Bravo! Encore!" But naturally Fang panics and yells out to the others, "Just grab him, you mooks!" Bean comes rushing in, dribbling a bomb like a basketball. I love that they've kept his manic nature, something that was also put to the forefront by Ian. Fang as the leader, Bark the strong silent type, and Bean manic and loony. It's a dynamic that works. But Bean comes in dribbling a bomb saying, "Hey, Sonic," and Sonic just gives him a wink and regards him saying, "Sup, Bean?" Bean gets ready to launch the bomb with a sneer saying, "I'ma blast ya." And Sonic gives him a wry smile saying, "You're gonna try." It's very Sad AM Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. You know, classic Sonic stuff. So as Bean launches a myriad of bombs, Sonic rolls out of the way. Ooh, and he races towards Fang's marvelous queen, with Bean just continuing to launch bombs. Naturally, Fang panics, shouting and grabbing his hat, "Not my ride!" And Fang jumps in, tackling Bean before he can launch another bomb as he says, "Watch where you're throwing those things!" But as Fang pins Bean to the ground, Bean tells him, "Okay, but you made me lose one." Bean's last bomb rolls right in front of the two, and as they turn, Bean smiles, saying, "Never mind, there it is!" And naturally, it explodes in the two of their faces, launching them in the air. Sonic leans on the marvelous queen, saying, "A+ for comedic timing. No notes." Good stuff. Suddenly, Bark comes up from behind and grabs Sonic. Sonic, with the smallest shock face, says, "Oops, hey Bark." And Bark just basically suplexes Sonic into the ground head first. But Sonic then spins himself and Bark around and launches Bark. And as Sonic gives a bow, he says, "Bye Bark," as all three of them land up in a heap. Sonic folds his arms, saying, "Did everyone learn their lesson, or do we need an act 2? Game reference, good stuff. Beans, because Bean's upside down, his word balloon is upside down, but he says, "Big talk from someone we knocked upside down." That's good. Oh man. Sonic gives his signature finger wag, saying, "If Dr. Eggman hired you guys to take me down, tell him to stop being lazy and come at me himself." Fang brushes off his hat, saying, "Not this time, Fleet Feet. I know you wouldn't willingly tell me anything about the 8th Chaos Emerald, so I was gonna make you tell me." Sonic pauses, saying, "Sorry, the what now?" Fang plops his hat back on his head and shouts, "The 8th Chaos Emerald." Sonic ponders, "You mean the Master Emerald?" Fang tells him, "No, that's the Master Emerald. This is one of the small, colorful ones." Sonic says, "You're making this up." Fang pushes, saying, "It's a real thing." Fang then explains, the Chaos Emerald, the fabled treasures from parts unknown. They hold limitless power and are super rare. Just getting their number and colors accurate has been a challenge across the ages." Sonic stops him, counting out, "There are 7. I know, I've found them all repeatedly." Fang angrily bites back, saying, "So you say." Sonic just throws his hands up, saying, "Yeah, 'cause it's true." He then angrily stomps his foot, saying, "What's it supposed to look like?" Fang, pulling out a notepad and pencil, goes over his notes, saying, "Going by my sources, orange, or gold, or maybe kind of rainbowy. That last one said it has emeralds inside it, so I don't know." That is not good information, buddy. Sonic then looks back over to Bean and Bark, saying, "What would you goofballs even do with a Chaos Emerald?" Bean, sitting on the Marvelous Queen, says, as he motions over to Bark, "We can sell it off so Bark can afford a portable freezer. Then my big burly buddy can travel in comfort and style." Aw, so thoughtful. Sonic then looks over at Bean, saying, "Yeah, what about you?" Bean shrugs, saying, "I don't know. A soccer ball, maybe?" Sonic pauses, saying, "That's it?" And Bean shoots him a smile. "A premium soccer ball." Fang eyes his bike, saying, "And I can finally give my marvelous queen the upgrade she deserves." He then sneers, saying, "And then she'll have the oomph she needs to take you down any day of the week." Sonic continues over to grab his hammock, saying, "Yeah, well, you're chasing a fairy tale, so I'm safe. Now beat it. I only caught 30 of my 40 wings." Fang gets huffy, saying, "I'm gonna rub that 8th emerald in your face before I cash it in." Fang, Bean, and Bark load onto the Marvelous Queen, with Fang saying, "We're wasting our time here. Let's get moving." And as they take off, Sonic readjusts his hammock, hops in, saying, "Now to kick back and relax." In comes Tails, saying, "Sonic, we've got trouble." Sonic has the most despondent look and says to himself, "Be patient with him. He's your friend." As Tails makes it to Sonic, he looks back, saying, "Wait, was that Fang and his gang?" We're not calling them the hooligans, are we? Just Fang and his gang. That's a bit disappointing. Sonic stretches, saying, "Yeah, they were just passing through, like a bad smell. You need something?" Tails tells him, "Oh yeah, I just heard of some kind of flying battleship attacking Marble Zone on South Island." Sonic gives him a dismissive look, saying, "So the fire ruins are on fire and ruin." Tails pouts and just calls out to Sonic. Sonic gets up and scratches his ear saying, yeah, I know. Sounds like Eggman's up to his usual nonsense. Tails then says in a panic, that's just it. There was no invasion or follow-up. The witnesses said the battleship vanished right after. Sonic then perks up saying, you mean it flew away super fast? Tails tells him, no, just poof, gone. Sonic goes racing off with Tails behind him as he says, a ghost flying battleship? Now this I gotta see. Let's go, Tails. Meanwhile, we cut to the Marvelous Queen making its way across the ocean with Fang and the gang. Bean playing with a paddleball saying, well, that was a fun distraction. What's our next gig? Fang tells him, we're still on the hunt for the 8th Chaos Emerald. Bean turns to him saying, but Sonic said. Fang waves him off saying, what does he know? He's not an expert treasure hunter. Bart gets ready to say something and Fang stops him saying, I know what you're gonna say. We went after him first cause he's easier to get to. Plus, I figured he might know something. Bean, playing with a paddleball the wrong way, sneers saying, yeah, sure. Who would know more about the shinies than him? Fang then points to something they're coming upon on the horizon saying, the book who babysits one for a living. Knuckle, the Echidna, guardian of the Master Emerald. He says as they come upon Angel Island, as they land right outside the Master Emerald Shrine. Love the design looking like the Sonic Adventure one. They disembark, with Bean wading into the nearby waters. Fang and Bark look around, with Fang saying, where's that knucklehead? The one time we come looking for him and he's slacking on the job. Fang gets ready to march off saying, fine, we'll hunt him down first, then hunt down the 8th emerald. Bark waves at him, and as Fang turns he says, no, we're not stealing it right now. We've got other priorities. Keep your eyes on the prize, Scarf Mook. Bark says, Bark is just pointing over to the Master Emeralds like, bruh. Bean and Bark then give him a look, with Bean saying, you know, Bark and I have been talking, and we're starting to get tired of your antics. This stops Fang dead in his tracks, and he turns, shouting, my antics? I'm the brains of this outfit. You two would be lost without me. Bean then takes off his shoe and pours the water out, saying, I've been tagging along because it's been fun. I can get into all kinds of mischief with you. My buddy here makes sure I never get in too deep over my head. You need us as backup more than we need you for inspiration. Wow, Bean telling it like it is. Fang gives a huff saying, oh come on, when have I ever led you astray? Bean and Bark give each other this look that says a million words. Bean goes on to explain, you've talked us into taking all sorts of wacky jobs, which, you know, I like, but it's the principle of the matter. And you keep talking us into working with Eggman, Bean says as he thinks back to Sonic literally kicking his butt. Fang then retorts saying, I got Eggman to reward us in advance. And we see Eggman paying Fang in a big old bag of jewels, his weight in gems. But Bean dismisses this, saying, yeah, what about when he hired us to find the Chaos Emeralds because he got usurped by his own robots? Oh. Bean thinks of when Knuckles and Bark were going at it fist to fist, but Fang says, yeah, well, we managed to score one of those for ourselves, except you lost it before we could cash it in. Bean then shouts, fair, but you had to steal that pie from Amy Rose. And we see that Fang and Bean were all in to steal that pie, but Bark, he wasn't really feeling it. And Fang thinks of it and he just says, yeah, that one's on me. As we see Amy chasing the trio down with her hammer as they steal her pie. Oh man. Fang then brings the three of them into a hug saying, but you can't deny we've had some great times together, and this school would be the biggest of our careers. What do you say, boys? See this one through for old time's sake. You got enough charisma to drag these two into anything. Bark smiles and Bean gives Fang a noogie saying, aw, look at him, Bark. He's trying so hard to pretend to like us. Let's stick around for the punchline one more time, yeah? It's like, we know you don't like us, but we've got nothing better to do, so why not? Fang adjusts his hat and shoots Bean a devilish look, trying his best not to seem angry, saying, great. So happy you're sticking with me. And Bean and Bark give him the same look, motioning as Bean says, lead on, fearless leader. Meanwhile, we see a Cucky? Is that what they're called? Watching the trio from afar, and then flies over to Knuckles and lands in his hand. Knuckles, who's been watching the three from the bushes, says to it, yeah, I know, I'm watching them. We then pick up with a trio over in Mushroom Hill Zone as they're searching around. Well, Bark and Fang are searching around. Bean's jumping on the mushroom, which, I mean, that is one of the most fun things to do in Mushroom Hill. But Fang looks around telling him, fresh tracks, no effort to hide him. He doesn't know we're after him. Stick together and keep quiet. Bean, who's making all the noise jumping from mushroom to mushroom, says, sure, no problem. Oh, and he just bounces off way too many mushrooms. Oh, I see Knuckles lurking in the shadows. It looks like he redirects Bean, sending Bean bouncing off of multiple mushrooms until he ends up trapped in some vines. The captured Bean says, help? But it looks like Fang and Bark didn't notice as they continue to search. Fang says, heh, Bomb Mook's actually following orders for one. He then pauses and says, I don't trust it. Where did he go now? Fang and Bark look around, not seeing Bean, and Fang throws up his hands, telling Bark, split up and find him before he gives us away. We see Bark looking around as Knuckles observes him from the shadows. As Bark looks around the corner of a mushroom, he sees a makeshift stick person with a mushroom head and Bark's scarf on. As Bark rolls up to it and grabs Bean's scarf, obviously a bit perturbed, Knuckles, showing a bit of his cheekier side from back in the day, activates a switch, causing a trap pitfall to open up under Bark's feet. Oh no, it's a vent. Oh, okay, yeah, I remember. The vent proceeds to blow Bark up into the air and into some kind of hidden passage up above. Once Bark is inside, Knuckles activates the switch that captures Bark. As Bark looks out from the one little peephole and sees Knuckles, Bark sneers. Knuckles, who's clinging to the wall, smiles, saying, 2 down, 1 to go. Oh, we don't normally get to see Knuckles so competent. Usually he's mostly being played for a bit of a sap, but this is like classic Knuckles in Sonic 3 tricky and craftiness. Meanwhile, back with Fang, he continues to look at the tracks he's been following, and then pauses, saying, wait a minute. These tracks loop back on themselves deliberately. Realizing what's going on, Fang panics, shouting out, Bean? Bark? We haven't been hunting Knuckles. He's been hunting us this whole time. But Fang readies himself, saying, well, he ain't got me yet, Knucklehead. We'll just see who's the better hunter today. Next time, Fang versus Knuckles. Alright, so the Tales of an 8th Chaos Emerald. Very interesting. Kind of sounds like it maybe the Phantom Ruby? That's the only thing I can think of. And, I mean, think about it. A battleship that just poofs into existence, then disappears just as quickly? That sounds like Phantom Ruby shenanigans. Maybe we'll find this as a lead-up into Sonic Mania. That would actually make a bit of sense. Because, from what I know from Sonic Superstars, there's no real correlation in terms of that. So, I'm intrigued. This wasn't the most bombastic of an opening, but it was pretty dang fun. You know, it's the same kind of antics you kind of get with Rough and Tumble in the main book, but just with a little bit more of an interesting dynamic. Almost like Ed, Edd and Eddy, Three Stooges kind of situations, which is always kind of fun. The only downside I personally see is that they keep pushing for these miniseries to be 4 issues, and I'm not sure if you can carry this all 4 issues. I know that they're playing for the trade. That's why they do the 4-issue format. But they used to do this for Sonic Universe, and there were times that it worked, but there were also plenty of times when it felt like this could have been 3 issues. I mean, that's always been the thing I've said. Like, sometimes it feels like Ian and the team will take what could have been 3 issues and make it 4. And that opinion comes from the fact that, set it up like a 3-act structure. Sometimes it feels like that would tighten things up just a little bit, but who am I to complain? I think it's just because of the fact that I know that we won't be getting back to the main book until this is over, which again is something that just kind of shoots a little bit of my enjoyment in the foot. if we were having this in conjunction with the main book, oh yeah, like bring it on, do for as long as you feel like you need to. But the fact that I know that I have to wait for something more after this, and I hope this doesn't become a trend. It's really weird to have this pause, and it gives me more flashbacks to when Archie was cancelled. I mean, there is something still running though in the slot, which is fine enough, but just puts me on a bit of edge. And there's no information about Sonic the Hedgehog number 69. Nice. Not to mention, we're in the middle of a whole big plot line going on, so, you know. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Also remember to like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Till then, bye-bye.